I don't always draw a daily card, but sometimes I do. And today I drew Love from the Goddess Tarot. So it's Venus. So I put it on my Venus Aphrodite Love altar. So there she is. Usually my Athena Justice card from the Goddess Tarot deck is on my Athena Justice altar, but I put it back in the deck just in case I needed to, draw it. The Goddess Tarot, that's what the back of the cards look like. And it is still snowing. That's how much we've got so far. That little divot that you're seeing there, that shaded area, is where they snow blew, that's a weird verb, the sidewalk last night, and it's been covered back over. So this little hump in front is what has piled up at the edge of my little patio area, and then beyond that is the yard leading to the actual road. I want to go get my ruler and go out there and see how tall it actually is, but I think this build up here is like maybe 1.5 feet. I don't know. It's like 2 feet, maybe. So today I just got up a little bit ago and I checked my polls on Twitter and Facebook that I did last night to see what people wanted me most to talk about in a Vlogstice video next. I gave you 4 options of things that I think I might like to do soon, and of course there are other ideas I have beyond that. There's more than 4 days left, so it's okay. We can probably do them all if everyone's interested in all of them. Or combine some even, so there's even more room for activities. Talking about my personal Yule decor and talking about what Yule means to me were the top ones in both the Facebook and Twitter polls, but what Yule means to me was a little bit higher than Yule decor. So those were the top 2, but you most wanted to hear me talk about the meaning of Yule in my practice in my life. So I will focus on talking about that and getting that in the vlog today while I am also vlogging a bit of arts and crafts, because I did say in the previous Vlogstice that I would be working on that craft that I got all set up. So I'll probably do a bit of vlogging and talking at the camera while I do that. And maybe I'll throw in some Yule decor into this video, maybe it'll be in the next one. It just depends. Okay, this is funny. I just saw this. This is a little shelving unit thing that is usually on top of this table when this table was over there by the door. So I had the shelving unit thing right there. And it's like multiple little altar spaces. It was gonna be more of an altar space, but it didn't get fully done. Anyway, I had to move it over here when I used this table at a recent event and brought it with me to put my jewelry and stuff on to sell it. So it's been sitting over here. And I just noticed that last night my cat was apparently playing because her mouse is now chilling in the middle of the Fae altar shelf, which, as you can see, doesn't look particularly Fae. There's not a lot of stuff on it yet. It just has this little thing here, which I got from my mom. It's like a little garden. It could be a bird feeder or something like that. And this little hair tie thing and some ribbon, and then I put these flower-shaped candle holders, and that's one of the first candles that I ever made and poured myself. And then I have a Unitarian Universalist card thing there. But anyway, so it's not particularly Fae, but this is the shelf that is meant to become a Fae altar area, and my cat put her mouse in the middle of it. Like, that is hilarious to me. Also, it's a winter mouse. This is the mouse that she came home from the shelter with. Hilarious. And then this shelf up here isn't anything in particular right now. It has a mini prosperity altar in an old jar lid and a prayer candle and my witch's brew candle and some prizes. And then this one has an Ohio Democrat card that got sent to me and a little painting that I did and my Pentacles of Pride mug, and that's a little spell bag that is in the process of getting redone. Yeah, but that was hilarious to me. I love it. I love it. Setting up this shot, trying to get good lighting and everything using the natural light before I go make my breakfast. And it looks like the camera is pointing down so low, but according to the frame of reference, I should still be completely in the frame. So, like, this is where I have my crafty stuff here within arm's reach, everything I will need. And I typically sit like this and put stuff in my lap, and I use my lap desk. So this whole kind of space needs to be available, and this should be okay. And I like that you can see the wreath in the background just because I like it. Okay, so what I'm doing is making some herbal blends. I have 4 that I have decided to do based on just the intention that I want to put into them. I'm doing 4 different blends, and they're going to be put into items that I will be selling on my Etsy and decorating and all of that, and I'll be adding crystals and things at a later stage. But right now I'm just gonna figure out my blends of herbs and put them in and maybe add some of the oils. Oh, my other herbs are over there. Oh well. I'll reach for them as I need them, I suppose. So I will start with my first one. I have the notes here. Yesterday I went through my sources of what herbs I have and what magical properties they have and wrote down a bunch of different ones that I feel are related to the Yule season and the winter season. Since I am in the northern hemisphere, it is winter. So I wrote down a bunch of different things and then kind of looked at that and looked at, okay, what do I have in all of these and what different groupings of intentions can I put together in different ways for different things that are related to this season. So I'm going to be making something that's for what I'm calling getting through the winter, kind of a seasonal thing. One for celebrating the new year, whether it's the new year that you believe has already begun at Samhain, or the new calendar year, or however you see it, just kind of new cycle. One that is more for celebrating the return of the sun at the winter solstice, and one that is for kind of holiday spirit, or the way that these end of the year holidays feel to us. I have some bagged herbs, I have some jarred herbs. A lot of these came from when my mom and I used to own a gift shop and we sold herbs, so they're no longer fresh enough to ingest in a tea or in cooking, but they can still be burnt and they do still have some fragrance, and I'll be adding some oils and things. So still have the properties even though they are not fresh enough to like drink, so I wouldn't do that. Also, while I'm doing this, I will be talking about what Yule means to me, because that won the polls on Twitter and Facebook. So what Yule means to me, I have done videos in the past about quote unquote what I called leaving Christmas behind, and just the process of dealing with coming out of a childhood and being raised with a family that celebrates Christmas, and Christmas being a huge holiday within the Christian belief system, and then celebrating Yule, which really within the Wheel of the Year calendar is not as important of a Sabbath or a festival. Like, it's just not one of the really major ones, the way that like in Christianity I feel that Christmas and Easter are the big ones, which for us relates to Yule and Ostara, the winter solstice and the vernal equinox, and those are part of the 4 minor Sabbats. The 4 major fire Sabbats are Imbolc, Beltane, Lammas, and Samhain. So for us, Samhain and Beltane are considered the 2 really big ones. So it's very difficult to kind of want to celebrate Yule when Christmas is so much louder. And I read an article the other day, I think I may have shared it on Twitter, but it was from Patheos Pagan, I think, just about that, about the fact that we put so much emphasis on Yule even though it's not really a highly emphasized Sabbath, in part because it feels like we have to talk over this really, really loud thing. And that's the same for any other holiday that happens during this time of year. Christmas kind of drowns it out. So I do believe that that is part of why we put so much emphasis on Yule when we may not otherwise, especially if you grew up celebrating Christmas and your family still expects you to celebrate it or whatever. But Yule in itself is also a really beautiful time, and I personally really resonate with the solstices and equinoxes because something that's really important to my personal path working is recognizing the change of the seasons. I do live in a place where I observe all 4 seasons within a year, even if some of them are shorter than others. So to me, recognizing that is really important. And the way that the 8 Sabbats fall on the calendar matches up with kind of the beginnings and the middle points of each season. So there's the times when the seasons are changing from one to the other, and then the other Sabbats happen when we're really in the middle of whatever season it may be. So that's part of where Yule comes into play in my path, is just really relating to the winter season, the return of the sun, things like that. And the feel of winter can be very different here because sometimes it's not snowy at all. Like right now it's really insanely snowy and people are asking me if we're gonna cancel our show tonight because they're snowed in. St. John's, cinnamon, mugwort, lemon balm, eucalyptus and pine. Now I got distracted getting my ingredients together. But anyway, that's kind of the seasonal aspect of it for me. And I am still obligated to go to my family's to celebrate Christmas Eve with them, but to me, it's not a religious holiday, it's just an obligation that I have to show up for my family, but it's something that's important to them, so it's something that I want to share in with them and to go and see them, but really it's mostly because of my grandma. I will feel much less obligation to go and hang out with the family on Christian holidays when my grandmother is no longer around, but as long as she is here, I will be there. Otherwise, I really wouldn't. I wouldn't bother. There's a lot of holidays that I wouldn't celebrate or even observe, because I don't really celebrate them, I just observe them with other people. My favorite part of Yule lore, actually, I'll do some B-roll of my altar for you, is the story of La Befana, which is an Italian story about a witch named Befana, and there are different myths and stories about her. Patty Wigington from the Pagan Wiccan About.com shares them throughout this season, so if you follow her or check out the About.com, you'll be able to see that. But basically, La Befana, my favorite version of the story, I can't get this jar open. My favorite version of the story is that Befana is a witch who met the three wise men when they were on their way to see baby Jesus, and they invited her to come along. She, however, was really busy with some housework or some spell work, or who can tell the difference between them, because a lot of the times they were exactly the same. I cannot get this jar open. Anyway, she said she was too busy, so they went on without her. But then she decided to go after all to meet the baby Jesus. So she tried to follow the wise men, but she couldn't catch up with them and couldn't find them. So instead of being able to bring gifts to the baby Jesus, La Befana travels around and brings gifts to all good little children. The version of the story that I like the best says that she does this because she is in search of the Christ child and doesn't know who he is. So any good child she meets, she gives them a gift and treats them the same as if they were that child. And I really like that because it reminds me of the story that I have heard told in my UU church a couple of times, the church that I used to attend. I don't remember the tradition that it comes from, and I don't remember the specific characters involved, but it's a story where basically the moral of it is that you treat everyone as though they may be the Messiah, and because you don't know who it is, you also treat yourself the same way. It's like the version I've heard is about monks. They are told the Messiah is among you, and because they're not told who it is, they all start treating each other and themselves like it could potentially be any one of them. And I really like that because my path is one that sort of tries to see every person as divine, including yourself. Not literally that we are gods. Some people do think that way, and I think that's a thought process that can either be really toxic or can be really empowering. But when I say it, I really just mean like recognizing that divine spark, you know, the meaning of namaste. The divine in me recognizes and honors the divine within you kind of thing. So I really like that story of Befana because she's a witch who gives everyone gifts and treats everyone as though they might be the savior of the world. So I love that story. I think it's fantastic, and I have a little Befana statue figurine on my altar that is dedicated to the archetype of the witch. And so something that I did last year, I started this tradition with myself last year, is I had a different altar than the one I have now. I had set up with different little like Italian trinkets and things that reminded me of my Italian heritage, and I had Befana. And I wrote a prayer to her, or a spell, or kind of like a Christmas list even, if you could think of it, a wish list for the kinds of gifts that I would like to receive in my life, and then also wrote her a thank you letter for all of the gifts that I have that she helps me acknowledge and realize that I have. So that is a big theme for me around this time of year, recognizing the gifts that we already have and treating everyone as though whoa, that smells really good. But yeah, recognizing our gifts and also recognizing that others are deserving of gifts as well. That kind of goes into another video topic that I'm going to do a separate video of on my channel. But yeah, so Yule to me is about reflection because it is during this kind of introverted time of the year where we like to hibernate and snuggle up warm in our houses and drink tea and just relax by a fire if you have that option, things like that. And it's about the new year because even though I do sort of think of the new year as beginning at Samhain, every kind of transition, you know, it doesn't happen immediately. So in my practice, the new year season kind of starts at Samhain. That's when, you know, the end of one cycle has come and we're starting to move into bringing something new. And really, I tend to feel that newness really coming in at Imbolc, which happens around February 1st or 2nd, depending on when you observe it. So for me, Yule is the midway point between those two when we're really in the deep portion of kind of resetting. It's almost like the period between Samhain and Imbolc where Yule is contained is like this time that almost doesn't exist in time. Obviously, the calendar keeps marching forward, the wheel keeps turning, arbitrary time measurements still take place, but it definitely feels like a time for stopping and reflecting and recharging, kind of like the time of the new moon that happens every month. This time of the solar calendar of the year really feels like that to me. Most of the people in my life celebrate Christmas or Hanukkah, so I do participate in gift giving, but I try to do things that are really meaningful and show that I love them more than anything. And I might make things. I like to make people gifts in general, but especially at this time of year I get really crafty, as you can tell. But I'm also the kind of person that gives people gifts all throughout the year. If I see something and I think of you, I don't need to wait until your birthday or some kind of gift-giving holiday to give you a gift. I give people gifts all the time. So the gift-giving aspect isn't as huge for me for this time of year, but I do it because it's a custom that a lot of other people participate in, and for me it's just another good time to give gifts to people that I love. So I do love that. I am really bad at planning ahead, as you all know, so I usually don't have anything up on my Etsy like in time for the holidays or anything like that. I'm really bad at that. No, my oil is dripping. Pine oil. Oh, yes. Okay. And of course, instead of mixing in the part that has oil on, it is now just sticking to the bottom of the jar. Cool! I didn't bring my stirring sticks over here. I'm definitely going to have to make more of that. I wasn't sure how much of anything I would need, but I am really liking the scent of this, so I'm just going to make more now. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I really need or want to say about the meaning of Yule to me. It's a time that I focus a lot on protection and travel because the roads do get really bad out here, and I really do not like driving in inclement weather. I have had some really scary accidents or near accidents happen, so that is my least favorite part about this season. So I do a lot of work around protection during travel. One of my deities that I work with is very heavily associated with it because they're associated with travel, and that tends to be a lot of the time that I'm doing a lot of devotion to them. And throughout my work of deciding what kinds of offerings are appropriate for that, a lot of the answers I was getting were very winter-specific things, and I believe that that is entirely because that's when I was doing the work and making the request. So I got a lot of answers that are very winter climate-specific things that are things that I would be able to offer during the winter, like actually using snow. Stuff like that. So that's something else that's really important to me during this time, and just, yeah, trying to remember to take the time for self-reflection. And it is a struggle for me to kind of feel like I have to combat overall views of everyone else kind of being really loud about their holiday and getting really upset if you talk about any other holiday. You know, it's just like, on a certain level, what can you do? I have done videos about that kind of thing in the past, and I feel like every year I both care more and care less, because it's still very important to me and I very much care about it. But I'm also just more realizing that, like, I don't know, I've had some really good experiences lately. I've also had some really negative experiences, and I do not think that we should be silent when we have the negative experiences. I think that the world should be better in general, and this is supposed to be a time of peace and harmony and goodwill, and that is what I strive to accomplish. Mixing up the holiday spirit. This is witch's work right here. This is what makes me feel witchy, whether I'm cooking or if I'm making some kind of DIY crafty type stuff, but like actually getting dirty, getting covered in oil, and like mixing things together and smelling them and just having the visual and the scent and the tactile. I am so happy with these, you guys, and I'm so excited to share them with you. This is the last one now. I'm crushing up some oak bark from one of my sacred trees where I used to live. A lot of these ingredients, I think I said this before, but I didn't finish my thought because I kept getting distracted. A lot of these are from my mom's store, so they're not safe to drink, so they're like old things that we acquired. But a lot of the other things, like this lemon balm is organic lemon balm that someone I know actually gardened and gave to me. The oak is something that I wildcrafted. I collected from deadfall from one of my personal sacred trees. The organic rosemary was grown by a friend. Essential oils from various sources. I crushed my own frankincense and myrrh resin just now, and I used it in 2 of these blends. Some other things are just store-bought. The pine needles that I'm using are from the Yule tree, or Christmas tree, from my grandma's house a couple of winters ago, which is why some of them are getting kind of red, because this jar, although it is airtight, is not 100%. And it's a clear jar, and I keep it out in the light, so that's bound to happen. But the scent, when you open this up, it still has completely the scent of pine. So that is just awesome. So yeah, this is Holiday Spirit. This is the last one that I'm working on. I'm going to add some oak. I'm going to get some close-up shots of these for you so I can show you them all. Getting through the winter, the new year, return of the sun, and the holiday spirit. I just think they look so awesome and they smell so awesome, and I wish that they were fresh enough to actually make teas. Not that everything in here would go in a tea, because like I have frankincense and myrrh resin in there. That's not going in a tea. These are meant to be incenses or just stay in the thing that I'm going to be putting them in, or you can take them out and burn them. But that's all they're meant to be. But I just think they look so cool, and I love when teas look like that, so I would love to get into blending tea. And I do make some of my own teas with the ingredients that I have that I grow. I grow my own chamomile, I grow my own mint. There's some of my chamomile is in some of these blends, in this one and in this one. But, oh my god, okay, so yay, they're done, they're ready. I just have to now put them into the things that they're gonna go into, and then I can put them on Etsy soon. And decorate them, I have to decorate them and add some crystals and things, but yeah, and then charge and empower them more than they have just been purely by putting the ingredients together. So, huzzah! Alright, I've also spent some time now packaging up, or at least organizing what I'm going to package up, some things for my Patreon sponsors that have been sponsoring me for a long time. There are 6 people who have been sponsoring me since the very beginning, and I do not have the funds to reward them by sending them things in the physical mail every month, but I wanted to send them something, so I asked them for their addresses a little while ago. So I'm not going to show you because the piles include their addresses and their names and who everything is going to, and I'm picking out things that'll go to everybody, but I've been doing that today. I'm really excited to finally get that stuff out. Maybe they'll even get it by Yule. That would be fantastic. I haven't put those blends into the final products yet. I might just wait to do that tomorrow because I'm kind of winding down a little bit. I had a lot of energy there to do a lot of this stuff, and now I'm kind of like, okay, now I need to like take a break. I could upload another video. I'm not sure yet, but I have a few hours before I have to head to the theater, or a couple hours before I have to head out to my parking lot to try to unbury my car and then head to the theater. So yeah, this might be all I vlogged for today. Just wanted to let you know that's what's up. Good morning! It's almost not morning. It's like 11:45 and it's time for me to go to the theater because I'm supposed to be there at noon. But I was way too comfy in my bed this morning and I stayed up late again, as usual. Because when I get home late at night, I don't want to go straight to bed. I can't do that. I can't just like come home and go to bed. I have to sit down and watch people's vlogs on YouTube, and I have to read, and I have to check things, and I just like to do something before bed, whether it's read part of a book, or watch a movie and crochet, or watch some vlogs, whatever. So I stayed up late again, but that's my usual, but I was just really comfy when I got up, and I know that I have to go out there and like unbury my car and shovel it and everything, and that's just not something that I look forward to doing. So I stayed in bed for a really long time, and then I just got dressed. I'm wearing one of my new dresses again, red and black striped one with the little black skirt and green leggings. And right now I have my winter boots on because I'm going to be wearing them just to the theater, and then I will change into my combat boots. Although yesterday I forgot my boots. They're in a little plastic bag so that they don't get wet or anything, and I can put them in my bag without getting my bag dirty. I ran out of here so quickly yesterday that I forgot them, and I just had to wear my winter boots the whole time. I sound like an elephant climbing up and down the stairs. But anyway, yeah, I'm ready to go now. Auditions for the next show that I'm stage managing are actually taking place this afternoon while I'm running this show, so I can't be running those auditions, but then tomorrow night I'll be running those auditions. So we'll be getting started with the next show really, really soon here, overlapping the current show. And this is only because I'm skipping every other show in the season. The next show coming up in the season has already been rehearsing for like a month and will be going up in a couple of weeks. So I'm skipping every other show so that I'm not overlapping myself by numerous weeks. So as it is, doing every other show in the season, the auditions happen during the previous show that I'm working on, but it'll be some weeks yet before we actually start rehearsals, like maybe January. And it's another straight play, so this is the first time that I've stage managed 2 plays instead of doing 2 musicals 2 years in a row. So it's a nice change of pace. I needed it. Anyway, I'm gonna end this vlog here probably because I know when I get back from the theater it's gonna be later in the day, like evening, and I have a bunch of footage from yesterday that I know is gonna take a while to edit. It's gonna take a long time to transfer it to my computer to edit in the first place. So this is gonna be the vlog for today, and the next one will have some more about my Yule decor and symbolism and stuff like that, and then we'll see what happens from there. Have a wonderful day. I hope you're all enjoying the month of December and life in general, and that things are going well for you and you're happy and healthy and well. And until I see you next time, don't forget to be awesome, blessed be, and goodbye.